A warm welcome to TV Africa News and thank you for always joining us. This is Africa Today. My name is Najma Lima, but first are the headlines. We can work with DR Congo to defeat ADF, says Museveni. Gateway bus catches fire along Kampala-Masaka highway. Tigray's capital, Mekele, suffers massive food fuel shortages. And in sports, Ethiopia defeat hosts Uganda to win inaugural Sekafa Women's Under-20 Championship. A warm welcome, and once again, now the news in detail. President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni has said that Uganda can work with the Democratic Republic of Congo to defeat the ADF terrorists wreaking havoc in the neighboring country. We have more. The president was yesterday meeting a USA delegation led by Howard G. Buffett, the CEO of Buffett Foundation, a philanthropist and conservationist who is also the son of United States billionaire investor Warren Buffett, and Shannon Sedgwick Davis, the CEO of Bridgeway Foundation, a philanthropic organization dedicated to ending and preventing mass atrocities around the world, at State House in Entebbe. While briefing his guests about the security situation in the region, President Yoweri Museveni said that the peace and security witnessed in Uganda was due to a good ideology. The Bridgeway Foundation and the Buffett Foundation are involved in peace and security in the Great Lakes region. Their current focus is the restoration of security in the DR Congo. The CEO of Howard G. Buffett Foundation, Buffett, a close friend of President Museveni, was pleased to note that President Museveni was showing good leadership in the region. Howard Buffett, who said he was in the country to pay a courteous call on President Museveni, said the president, his uncle Kato, caused chaos in Texas. The CEO of Bridgeway Foundation, Ms. Shannon, said that they are very grateful for Uganda's efforts in maintaining peace and security in the region. Foreign Affairs Minister Okello Oryem has called for more efforts in value addition if Uganda is to gain from the good bilateral and multilateral trade relations she enjoys with other countries. According to Oryem, Uganda loses a lot of money to other countries in exportation of raw agricultural products. Nalugo has more.
In 2020, Ugandan exports to Germany were $17 million, approximately 33 billion shillings. There is a high value appetite to increase the trade volumes between the two countries and reduce the trade imbalance between Kampala and Berlin that stood at $36 billion in 2020, courtesy of huge propensity to import. However, this trend is likely to reverse as Germany delegation led by Matthias Friedrich met stakeholders in the Ugandan business space that include Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Uganda Investment Authority, Uganda Revenue Authority to discuss investment. Since the two countries have enjoyed a cordial relationship for over 60 years, the Minister of State for Foreign Affairs, Okello Oryem, lobbied for more investment in areas that seem to be virgin, but most importantly to add value to Uganda's agricultural products.
When there's frost in Vietnam, and there's heavy rains in Vietnam, when there's frost in Brazil and heavy rains in Vietnam, we in Uganda clap. Why? Because we have the opportunity now to sell more coffee at a higher price abroad. Because Uganda is advantageous in that our weather is so stable that we are not disturbed by frost, we're not disturbed by rain throughout the year. Brazil has a problem of frost for its coffee. So Vietnam has a problem with the rain sometimes. That's why this year, the last year, when there was frost in Brazil, Uganda has exported maximum coffee abroad.
To Uganda's Deputy Ambassador to Germany, Dan Sozi, this new chapter will unlock Uganda's investment potential. Uganda's foreign direct investments stand at $1.3 billion as of December 2020, and efforts are on to increase them further. Nalugo Muyingo, Africa Today.
A Kabale-bound Gateway bus on Tuesday afternoon caught fire following a malfunction with its brakes. The bus, registration number UAU 926EU, developed a malfunction at Kampidingisa along the Kampala-Masaka highway, which sparked a fire from its rear. Kachanchu has more.
According to Assistant Superintendent of Police Farida Nampima, the spokesperson for Police Traffic Directorate, the incident that happened on Tuesday afternoon saw passengers escape unhurt, but all their luggage was burnt to ashes. Nampima said that the driver had been earlier warned about smoke from the rear but pulled over after the fire had spread, adding that all the 37 passengers on board are safe and managed to exit the bus before it was entirely engulfed by fire. The actual cause of the malfunction will be communicated later, according to the police. However, property worth millions of money have been burnt to ashes following the fire outbreak. Internal Affairs Minister General David Muhoozi told Parliament on Tuesday that they had learnt about the mechanical issue, but said that security will investigate further to ascertain if the fire is connected to the recent spate of bombings.
Let's take a very quick short break. We will be right back. Welcome back. You're still watching TV Africa News, The Right to Know. The embattled Tigray region's capital is suffering food and fuel shortages as the Ethiopian government blockades continue. The streets of Mekelle town that were once jammed with convoys of humanitarian and aid workers, trucks, public buses, and pedestrians going about their daily business are now of a ghost town.
Once a bustling city with a viable commercial economy, now there is barely any fuel for transport, and shortages of foods and other goods in the market have driven prices up beyond the reach of most residents. Only a few cars are able to move on the streets to downtown Mekelle. Ethiopia is landlocked and depends on neighboring countries for fuel, exports and imports. But the embattled Tigray region is not only landlocked, it has been under a blockade. Roadblocks prevent most trade from entering into Tigray. Yemen Teke, an attendant at a petrol station, said that fuel is no longer available and have been sitting idle with everything closed. Trucks that are used to transport goods in and out of Mekelle and the region are parked under the baking sun. Outside Tigray, Ethiopian government soldiers and their allied militia have set up numerous roadblocks preventing most goods from entering in or out. Prices and inflation have shot up as incomes dwindle, and the supply of everything from food to daily household goods have become increasingly scarce. They haven't moved for at least 2 months because of the fuel shortages, but also because of the blockade.
France has returned 26 of its national treasures to Benin, works of art looted in the 19th century during the colonial era that had been exhibited at the Quai Branly Museum in Paris. The Restitution Act was signed by the Ministers of Culture of both countries to the applause of Emmanuel Macron and his Beninese counterpart, Patrice Talon. Among the works returned are totem statues from the ancient kingdom of Abomey and the throne of King Behazin, looted by French troops in 1892. In Benin, the works will first be displayed for 3 months at the presidency before being transferred to the historical sites of slavery and European colonization in the Gulf of Guinea. Benin President Patrice Talon said that the restitution of the 26 works they dedicated yesterday is a step in the ambitious process of equity and restitution of the memorial heritage once extorted from the territory of the Kingdom of Benin by France. The restitution of works of art to the African continent was one of President Emmanuel Macron's promises and also one of the axes of the new relationship that the French president intends to build with Africa. In addition to Benin, 6 countries, Senegal, Cote d'Ivoire, Ethiopia, Chad, Mali, and Madagascar have filed claims for the return of works of art to France. According to experts, almost 90% of Africa's heritage is outside the continent. Moving on, millions of Libyans began on Monday to collect their voters' cards in various Electoral Commission offices across the country. More than 2.8 million of Libya's 7 million residents have registered to vote in the upcoming general elections.
Libya on Monday stepped up preparations for landmark elections, opening registration for candidates in presidential and parliamentary polls as the country seeks to move on from a decade of war. Libya's first ever direct presidential poll, with the first round on December 24th, is the climax of a process launched last year by the United Nations to draw a line under years of violence since the revolt that toppled dictator Muammar Gaddafi in 2011. But despite a year of relative peace following a ceasefire between eastern and western camps, the process has been overshadowed by wrangling over the legal basis for the voters and the powers of whoever wins. Both presidential and parliamentary elections are slated for December 24th, but in early October, Parliament split the dates of the vote by postponing legislative elections until January. However, foreign powers have been pushing hard for both elections to be still held on the same date as agreed at the United Nations-led talks last year. Candidates are able to lodge applications at offices of the High National Electoral Commission in the 3 main cities in Libya's west, east and south until November 22nd, according to the High National Electoral Commission. Parliamentary candidates have until December to do so.
Away from that, Jose Maria Neves has been sworn in as the new president of Cape Verde. During his swearing-in on Tuesday, he vowed to strengthen relations with West Africa and Portuguese-speaking world while defending his island nation's strength and stability.
Jose Maria Neves, the 61-year-old socialist, notched up a first-round win in a country that has been tagged as a model of democracy in West Africa. The former Prime Minister ran for the opposition African Party for the independence of Cape Verde, which ruled the former Portuguese colony when it was a one-party state. He won the October 18th elections with 51.7% of the vote, averting the need for a runoff. Presidents who attended the inauguration included Marcelo Rebelo de Sousa of Portugal, Nana Akufo-Addo of Ghana, Senegal's Macky Sall, and Angola's João Lourenço. The United States sent a high-level delegation headed by Labour Secretary Matt Walsh, a move that it said reflected support for democratic governance and peaceful transitions of power. Congratulatory messages keep pouring in for the new president. On election night, Neves vowed to be impartial and work together with the country's center-right Prime Minister Ulysses Correia e Silva. Cape Verde staged its first free elections in 1996, 16 years after gaining independence from Portugal. Since then, it has never recorded any violence linked to elections. The country is ranked second to Mauritius for governance in Africa on the index drawn up by the Mo Ibrahim Foundation. Its biggest current worries are the economy and inflation.
Let's once again take a very quick short break. We will be right back. Welcome back. You're still watching TV Africa News, the right to know. In our business news today, in Kenya, a startup company called Opibus is chartering an ambitious path to achieving a zero-emissions public transport system. The company is on a mission to refit electric engines into diesel and petrol buses that have the capacity to travel over 250 kilometers a day on a single charge.
And unrelenting threats of climate change continue to threaten the planet. Carbon emissions from vehicles still remain one of the biggest problems. Africa as a whole is vulnerable to the consequences, yet comparatively it has overall contributed very little to global warming. Philip Lovstrom, the founder of Opibus, said that they removed the internal combustion engine, replaced that with an electric motor, and then put a battery pack and a control unit to it, which means that suddenly they no longer have to go to the petrol station to fuel their buses or vehicles with petrol or diesel. However, the cost of refitting a fuel-run engine with an electric engine is too high for many owners in the public service vehicle industry. The cost is approximately $45,000, whereas a second-hand bus imported into Kenya usually costs about a third less. Most of the parts of the electric buses also have to be imported into Kenya from Europe, adding to the cost of going green. The Kenyan government is also taxing the electric components used in assembling the electric buses. With big odds already on the horizon for the company, Silicon Valley Fund at One Ventures has sunk a whopping $7.5 million to fund Opibus, currently Africa's largest electric car manufacturing company. This will see the electric car company complete the modification for the first 52-passenger vehicle into a fully electric vehicle by December 2021. Mass productions of over 20,000 others will be rolled out to cover Africa's market by 2023.
In our health news today, Parliament has agreed to set up a committee to investigate the alleged abuse of office and misappropriation of shillings 31 billion meant to facilitate the research and production of a COVID-19 vaccine. This comes after a private company, Preside, said to be carrying out research on the COVID-19 vaccine, asked for supplementary budget of shillings 50 billion.
In a stormy setting, Ntungamo Municipality Member of Parliament Yona Musinguzi raised the eyebrows of the legislators when he accused the Minister for Science, Technology and Innovation, Dr. Monica Musenero, of hiding under the cover of the firm to misappropriate funds. Musinguzi pinned Musenero on using a non-registered company, Preside, to misappropriate taxpayers' money totaling to 31 billion shillings under the pretense of producing a COVID-19 vaccine. Musinguzi revealed how some of the scientists have disowned having received facilitation to help them in the research and discovery of the COVID-19 cure.
Madam Speaker, the first paper I want to lay here on table is evidence to prove that what I was talking about the other time was true, with empirical evidence showing the 31 billion, which was first released to that organization called Preside under the directorship of the minister now, Honorable Minister Musenero. And this is the budget we appropriated to her, and the money was released to her. And that is overview of the budget and release financial year 2016, 2017, 2021 to 2022. I beg to read this one. Madam Speaker, I want to lay on table a summary of project budget allocations. When this money was sent to Preside, it is purported that Preside disbursed money to a group of scientists, of which some of them have denounced themselves and dissociated themselves from the so-called money that came to them. And one of them is a doctor at Uganda Virus Research Institute, whom she purportedly said and wrote down in her paper here that she sent her money to a tune of 1.8 billion shillings, and the doctor, as of today, has never seen the money and has refused to be part of this report. I want to lay this one, and many other doctors who are here.
The Member of Parliament also provided documents pinning the minister on how she wrote to the Ministry of Finance, directing it to halt release of funds to the now defunct Ministry of Science and Innovation even before she was appointed a minister. Musinguzi alleged that part of the 31 billion shillings was advanced to Musenero's family members. Some of the documents tabled before Parliament implicated the minister as her company Preside signed a memorandum of understanding with the Serum, an Indian company, making the legislators to question on whether the company was to produce or buy the vaccine. After his submission, some legislators vowed not to leave Parliament unless Musinguzi is provided with security, fearing that he would be harmed.
In our sports news today, Ethiopia are the champions of the inaugural edition of the CECAFA Women's Championship after defeating hosts Uganda in the title deciding match on Tuesday at Fufa Technical Center in Jeru. Despite having their coach Hailey Gebro and goalkeeper Hail Zalem Rodato sent off, Ethiopia fought back to win 3-2 and clinch the title.
Uganda led 2-0 at halftime, but Ethiopia, with a player less, put up a stunning performance in the second stanza, including scoring 2 late goals to eventually seal the victory. The hosts started with vigor and were the better side in the opening minutes of the game. In the 6th minute, skipper Fauzia Najemba beat Ethiopia defense for pace, but on rushing goalkeeper Loreto fouled the former just outside the box. With a numerical advantage, Uganda dominated proceedings and eventually took the lead in the 25th minute through Hadija Nandagu. 5 minutes to the break, Najemba scored directly from the free kick to double the advantage for Uganda. The second half was completely different, with Ethiopia coming back recharged and making several attempts. When Ridet Asra Sahanga got the first goal in the 51st minute, it gave them belief and hope for a comeback. With 5 minutes to full time, Tourist Lema fired home the winning goal for Ethiopia thanks to a well-laid pass from Odongo. They eventually held on to claim maximum points, thus ending the tournament with 15 points, 3 ahead of second-placed Uganda. Tanzania came third on 9 points, while Burundi ended with 6 points. Eritrea had 3 and Djibouti ended with no points from 6 points. Defender Bakia Amare of Ethiopia was named the most valuable player, while Fauzia Najemba emerged as the top scorer with 11 goals. Dafini Nyayenga, despite conceding 3 goals yesterday, was named the best goalkeeper at the tournament.
That ends our news bulletin today. Please do stay tuned. More programming coming your way.